Whether in Germany or elsewhere, the sustainable use of food is in fact becoming a major business opportunity. Here in Britain, Ruby's in the Rubble is an award-winning condiments brand dedicated to making delicious relishes, ketchups and even mayonnaise from otherwise discarded fruit and veg. And I'm very delighted to say the founder and CEO of the small pioneering company joins us now in the studio, Jenny Costa. Jenny, I'm so pleased to have you and I can't wait to talk to you. Firstly, how much has your background influenced you? Because I know you were brought up on a small farm in Scotland.
Yeah, so a very small farm in Scotland, in the middle of nowhere. And I think anybody that was being brought up close to the production of food really sees the value in it. But it wasn't till years later, when I was 20, that I was working in the city in London and I started going along to wholesale fruit and veg markets and seeing wasted fruit and veg being discarded by the pallet, and especially being branded sort of from Kenya, and you'd open it up and it was Monge 2 beans and I couldn't see anything wrong with them, but yet knowing that they'd flown from so far away and didn't even make our shop shelves, it started making me think about food waste and I just knew I had to act.
We've seen so much. I mean, we see it in terms of like the ugly fruit and veg thing where it can't be put on the shelves because people don't want to consume it. What did the research show you about that?
As humans, it's our single largest impact that we have on our planet, from deforestation, water use, resources. We waste a third of it, yet we're planning to double our food supply by 2050 to feed the expected 9 billion on our planet. And I just thought everyone's taken up the movement for no plastic bags, we've taken our keep cups, but yet happy to waste food. And it's not a sexy subject. I think it's a hard one to explain as well, because you're talking about, rather than the disposal of food, you're talking about the impact of growing it and getting it to your plate. But I wanted Ruby's in the Rubble to be a platform of raising awareness to start valuing your food again, seeing it as a precious resource and something that we should really cherish, and we can't afford to waste it.
But how did you then create it into a business? Did you always see it as a business, or was it fundamentally the issue that drove that?
I think a lot of purpose-led businesses, often because it comes from the heart of just problem solving, I want to make it, I want to do something, I want to act. So I was working in a hedge fund at the time, actually, and I started on the weekends running farmers markets and selling chutneys. And I started with chutneys just because I took some of Mum's old recipes. It's the traditional way of preserving fruit and veg. Yeah. And I thought, what better vehicle to talk around food sustainability and food waste? And we started on Borough Market in London, and then got to a couple of delis. And then a couple of years in, food waste started hitting the headlines. I think Tesco's were the first supermarket to release their food waste figures. And we were, as the only business doing anything, we had a lot of press from it, and then were called in with Waitrose, and we went on shelf in Waitrose, then got working with Virgin Trains, Marriott Hotels, Jamie Oliver, and it's flown from there.
How have you expanded it? Because you said you started with chutneys and used some of your mum's old recipes. How did it grow from there?
Well, I mean, we were brought up on chutneys and relishes, so our household gets through tons of the stuff, and soon realised that not many other people did. It was a really occasional buy. And so knowing that I wanted to make a big impact on the food waste angle, we knew we had to get into products that people were buying every single day. And our mayonnaises are based on aquafaba, which is a byproduct of making hummus. It's chickpea water. Oh. So when they cook their chickpeas, they normally throw away that water, but it's very starchy, it's protein rich, and it can replace an egg white. And so I'd seen in some vegan blogs people turning it into meringues and cakes, and thought, if they can do that and use it for meringues and cakes, I can make a mayonnaise. And that was the start of our mayonnaise range. And then we went on to have a chili and a garlic flavoured one as well. And then more recently, in the last couple of years, we've cracked the ketchup. And I was really hesitant on this one, because I kept on saying, if we're going to go up against ketchup, we've got to taste and do what people expect from a ketchup.
Yeah, because it's so ingrained, isn't it?
It's so ingrained.
Yeah.
Everyone's got the nation's favourite. We've been brought up on something. It's nostalgic. It brings memories back. But we took the two biggest ingredients, water and sugar, and replaced them with surplus pears. And I'm so passionate about this product. We've started getting into pubs, restaurants, fish and chip shops, burger chains, and now in supermarkets as well.
Oh, I love that it's made from pears.
Yeah, I mean,
you wouldn't even think.
You would never think. That's our biggest thing. We just a blind taste test. And I think to really make a difference in any business with purpose, you've got to do and say, like, serve the consumer well. And so I think the taste for us had to come first. But then for our purpose, packing as many surplus pears in there as possible without changing the taste was key.
We talked a bit about education. I think it's so important for people to understand it, to be able to then go and buy a product like yours. What work have you done with younger people in schools?
I suppose because of the whole, the start of this business, it started on education for me, and that feeling of, like, once you know about something or once you're aware of it, you're almost appalled to then go back, and so you really want to then change, and you can change your habits. And we've started doing things in schools as well, of teaching children about food and where it comes from. I think we're so far removed often from food. You see it in the supermarket in a ready meal, and you forget that pasta has wheat in it that was grown in a field and it's been harvested, and it's dependent on the weather, and then it's packaged up, it's flown across, it hits your shop shelf, processed in a different way. We forget that food is natural and that there's so much resource going into growing food as well. And so we really want to start educating people around this need to value food again and see it as this precious resource, and think what goes into your body, but also think of how you consume and how things are made.
I feel that personally with my own cooking and food habits too, thinking more about it because I'm eating a lot more at home than I normally would. Where are you now then, and where are you going to? Because it seems like there's been a lot of change over the year for you, but you've adapted so much, as in the fact that you were predominantly in restaurants, which closed, but then that shifted into supermarkets. So is that something that you plan to grow?
Yes. I keep on getting told, I think it's probably most entrepreneurs, you get told, like, stop wanting change, and I'm always coming up with other products. But we now just want to get behind the products that we've got in supermarkets, really support them, raise awareness of what we stand for as a brand, get our products out into more homes, make a bigger impact from our carbon footprint. We measure our carbon footprint from all of our products by looking at the fruit and veg that we save, and then the carbon footprint of growing that. But this year we're also on track to becoming carbon neutral as well, which is an exciting move for us as a brand, as well as looking into different packagings, looking into sustainable squeezies and different formats for making our products into. So exciting times.
Really exciting times. Before you go, what advice would you give anybody that's watching about how to maybe focus more and understand more about food sustainability, and maybe intersperse it into their own business?
I believe it has to be at the core of every business. I think it's an old school thought that CSR or your sustainable accreditations or what you do and stand for in sustainability is an add-on, or it's sort of something that you do, you've got a 10% budget for at the end of the year. But to really make sustainable change, it has to come from the core of the business. And I really encourage anybody to look at every part of your supply chain, how you get your products, or how do you serve your customer, and analyze how you can do it better. We're always constantly, we call them our shadows, but like every business has them, and areas that you can improve on, and creating a roadmap as well, being transparent about it, bringing the consumer onto that journey as well. But I really believe that there's a business case for being sustainable. Consumers are looking for businesses that have a purpose at the heart of it. So join them on that journey and make your business have that at the heart of it too.
Yeah, because consumers really care now, and that's changing.
It's a great shift. Yeah, there's a generation of people that want to believe in better, and businesses have the responsibility to make change and to see the change that we want in this planet.
Thank you so much, Jenny. It's been absolutely lovely to talk to you, and I want to go and try your ketchup. Thanks, Jenny.